Good evening, LaVilla Wind Ensemble students and parents, and welcome to Open House. I wanted to take time to talk to you about what we've been doing in class these last several weeks and think about what is next for the future in class. For those of you that don't know me, I am Dr. Ann Valle, and I've been teaching for over 30 years. I started my career at DeLand Middle School in DeLand, Florida as director of bands. I also taught oboe and music education at Stetson University. And after 25 years, I decided I wanted to come back to teaching middle school at LaVilla School of the Arts, and I've been here for 7 years. And I love what I do. I truly have a passion for teaching these students about music and about being musicians and performers. We always say that LaVilla is an art school, and so we have a higher expectation of our students as they prepare for auditions and performances throughout the year. We had a great year last year with the Wind Ensemble performing at CBDNA in February, and that really was our last performance before COVID hit. And it was so disappointing to just end the school year like that, because our Wind Ensemble last year had so many things planned beyond the CBDNA performance, including a premiere performance of a work that we commissioned in honor of LaVilla's 20th anniversary. So we will be working on performing that piece this year, and hopefully everything will get back to normal soon. For our current 7th graders, they know how excited I have been about the progress that they were making in 6th grade. And once again, they lost a third of the year of progression, really. And so my goal for your students this year is to keep them moving forward, to try and motivate them to be self-disciplined and to be their own teacher, and to make them better with whatever technology or methods that we can provide. In class for these last couple of weeks, we've been experimenting with different platforms, online platforms, including Flipgrid and Smart Music, and I just kind of introduced the students to an app called Acapella. And all 3 of those apps have different things that I like. I'll start with Flipgrid. It's part of our Teams page, and I like being able to see the students perform. I've been talking to them about setting up their space so that when they're performing and they're presenting something to me and to the rest of the class, that their space looks professional or uncluttered. We've been talking about camera angle and mic placement. And so parents, if you can help your students with that, that would be really helpful. Also, we have an app that we bought for every student in the band program called Smart Music. And one thing nice about Smart Music is it has so much music available for the students to use, like method books and solos and popular music, chamber music. There is just a wide variety of things that you can do with that. In addition, I can have the students record exercises for me, and then I can listen to them. The app will grade the recordings, but ultimately I will be the person that grades them, because an app doesn't really know what to listen for except whether or not they're playing the right notes at the right time. And one of my main goals that I talk about every day in class is we're teaching these kids how to be musicians, and an app cannot grade sound quality or musical style or musical line. Now, most recently, I showed the students about the app Acapella. And what I like about that is they can record several lines from a piece of music, and it will all come together. And a couple of the kids have been playing around with it, and they've said it's a lot of fun. And so I encourage you to just play around with it. It can be used on iPhones, iPads, Androids, and I even think you can do it on a computer. So play around with it. And if acapella doesn't work, there are other apps that are very similar to acapella for other devices. But one of my things that I'd like to do pretty soon is assign the students to play a Bach chorale, and they'll play all 4 parts and they'll submit that recording as a project that they'll be working on. I have just turned in the contracts, so school is going to go on as normal. The wind ensemble will be expected to do all of the events and requirements that they've been expected to do in the past. It just may be in a different format. I just turned in the all-state contracts for all-state auditions. Those will take place in an app. The students know about it, and I'll send home more information, but that will be done in an app called Heart Out, and it is a video app. And so that's part of the reason I'm doing so much in Flipgrid right now, to get the students used to using the technology, understanding how to set up their space and their mic distance, just getting them comfortable in that aspect of recording themselves, so that when they do their all-state audition, it will just be another recording that they're making. So the window for all-state auditions opens on October 2nd and 3rd, and that will be the only 2 days that middle school students will be allowed to record their auditions. And the audition will be recorded straight through without stops. They will have 3 opportunities to record their audition, and they can select the one that they like the best, but it must be done straight through without stops. So other things that the wind ensemble students are required to do is to audition for District Honor Band, which will be coming up in November. In the spring, we will have solo and ensemble, and I'll tell you right now, they're talking about making that a virtual solo and ensemble. We just don't know how things will go. We will have our concert MPA, and again, that may be virtual. We don't know, but we're just trying to do the best we can to keep things moving and to keep everybody safe. One of our primary objectives at LaVilla in the band program is to teach music through performance. And so in order to do that, each student needs to have a very disciplined practice routine at home. And parents, I'd like you to make sure you help your student set up their space free of distractions. In this era of technology, it's so easy to be distracted with text messages or emails or whatever else is going on. And so you can see I'm in my studio right now. I like to be in a space where I cannot be interrupted and that I can really have focused practice. As wind ensemble students, you should be practicing a minimum of 60 minutes every day. And actually, a lot of the wind ensemble students probably practice more than that. As you prepare for all-state auditions and district honor band auditions and solo and ensemble and MPA, and just prepare to become a better player, it will require more practice. I used to always tell my college students, 60 minutes a day maintains. If you want to get better, you really need to put in a little bit more time. But again, I'm going to say focused practice is what's important. Make sure you're focused on what you're doing. Have a plan. I've asked the students to have a practice journal. I've kept practice journals my whole life. I write down things that I'm working on. I have a timeline of how long I have to prepare what I'm working on. And then each day, I'll write down how long did I work on specific fundamentals and how did I improve and what do I still need to work on. I think it's really important for the students to take ownership and responsibility of their improvement as a player and to keep track of things. Also to stay organized. I've talked to the students about having a planner. Most students are doing a really, really good job of getting their assignments turned in on time at a very high level of performance, and I really appreciate that. And I keep kind of talking about the students that are not doing that. We need everybody in the band to complete their assignments on time and do them at a high level. You know, I talk to the students about, don't just do the drill. I want you to practice the music and get a performance that you're really happy with. And so that might take a few times of recording. Again, it's like I said, we're in the process of learning how to prepare a recording for auditions or performance. As far as books, I've asked the students, and they all should have it by now, to have this Rubank Advanced Method book. And throughout the year, I will be assigning things from this book. Right now, the All-State music comes from the book, but the book is divided up into sections that you can look in your child's book. But it has scale exercises, it has melodic interpretation, articulation studies, finger exercises, ornamentation, and solos. And so my goal is to assign a lesson each week that the students will work on and record in Smart Music. The Rubank book is in Smart Music, but I really want the students to have a hard copy, their own copy of the book, so they can bring it to class when they come back to school. And it's just something that the students should have. That's a standard method book that the All-State requirements are in, so it's nice to work out of that book. The other book I've asked the students to get is the Bach and Before book, which has all 4 parts to Bach chorales, and that's the book we'll use in a cappella to record all 4 parts. We'll also use it in class to play the different parts together. But the Bach chorales are just such a great way to develop our balance and our blend and our intonation and our line and our musicianship. So those are the 2 method books that I've asked them to get. The other thing is they should, like I said, they should have a practice journal or their binder with paper in it where they're always taking notes. In class, I'm asking them to get their binder out so they can take notes on different things that we talk about in class. A lot of the students in Wind Ensemble take private lessons, and I strongly encourage that. And I'll just say, even for 7th graders, if your goal is to audition for and get accepted into Douglas Anderson, now's the time to start preparing for that kind of an audition. And private lessons, one of the first questions they always ask is, who's your private teacher? And that is just a way to really move you forward. And if you need help finding a teacher, I'm happy to help you there. You can send me an email. But I always took private lessons when I was in school. It helps the student that needs extra help, but it also pushes and motivates that student that wants to really go beyond what we do in class. So during this time, let me jump back to the grades. Make sure you check focus regularly. So I put an assignment in, I'll put it in focus, and it'll either be in Flipgrid, it might be in Teams, in Forms, if it's a test that I'm giving, but I've been trying to do those tests during class. It might be in Smart Music, probably a cappella. Once students start using it, I think they're going to enjoy it, and they can submit things. Like I said, I'll probably have projects that I'll do in a cappella. But if your student has a 0, that indicates that I did not get the assignment. You know, just by doing the assignment, you would at least get a 50, okay? Which most students don't do that kind of level. After the due date, the grade will go down 1 letter grade each day it's late. And so I'm trying to put the due date, the assignment, that's all in focus. It's also in the assignment that I give from Smart Music or Flipgrid. Um, make sure they're getting that done on time, because like with these All-State auditions, if they don't do it the day that it's due, they don't get to do it. And like asking to turn in the contracts for All-State, if you didn't turn it in the day it was due, I couldn't sign you up. So I'm trying to teach the students how to meet deadlines and how to be responsible for getting things turned in on time. Lastly, I want to talk about what's next at school. You know, you are trying to make decisions on Duval homeroom, staying there, or coming back to brick and mortar. And those are difficult decisions to make, and I understand that. And if the Duval homeroom is working out well for you, that's great. If the face-to-face is working out well, that's great. But you do have choices to make. One thing that I am trying to do is I am trying to figure out a way to have us play our instruments at school. And I'm getting close. I've talked to several of my band director friends and asked them what are they doing to stay safe. They are playing in rehearsals. And so some of the things that they're doing is they have the social distancing. So if we can set up 10 feet apart, the studies say that that is a safe way to set up and play your musical instruments. Also, the studies talk about bell covers for the instruments, since that's where all the air comes out. And I do have a pattern. I've talked to the students about parents that might be interested in helping to make some of these bell covers. And a lot of the students already volunteered you if you like to sew. But I have a pattern, and if you email me, I can give you more specifics. But I'd like to get bell covers made for all of the instruments. And then the other thing that people are doing and not doing is wearing what they call a musician's mask. And I've actually made some musician's masks that I'm using with my private students. And the kids have seen it, and I have a pattern for it. Again, I will share that. I'll share that through Charms. And if I have parents that are handy and like to sew, I would definitely encourage you to help us out. And so that I think I'm going to have the students use the mask. Other friends of mine say they take the mask off to play their instruments, and then they put the mask back on. I really want to be as safe as possible. So our options will be to go to the theater or a bigger space so we can stay 10 feet apart from each other and set up. And then as the weather cools down, we can go outside and be 10 feet apart from each other and still get to play our instruments. So I'm looking to do that pretty soon. I think all 7th and 8th graders start coming back next week, and I'd like to kind of start the playing as soon as we get all of the covers and the logistics figured out. So I hope you guys can help me with that. In the meantime, we've been looking at a lot of videos. We've been looking at the videos on Flipgrid and listening to smart music. And I'm trying to just encourage the students to listen to great music and to go online and listen to master classes we've been watching in class, and to learn as much as they can from Googling online. There are so many materials out there. As far as grading goes, 20% of the grade is based on, are the students in class? Are they prepared? Do they have all of the materials that they need? If they are doing Duval homeroom, parents, I would really like to ask you to make sure that their space, they're sitting at a desk or a table, and that they have their music stand there, and their music, and a tuner, and a metronome, and their instrument, and their camera works, all of that stuff. It's hard for me to teach them when I can't see them. And I still have students that are coming to class without a camera or without a microphone. And so I really need to see the student in order to help them. And I'm just going to say, for the Duval homeroom people, you know, I've had students coming to class where they look like they're laying in their bed with food and just not in a professional setting. And I just want you to know that, they are in school. And so they need to set up their space as though they are coming to school and be professional in that sense. So please help make sure that they're set up properly. And that will really encourage better learning. 30% of the grade is turning in assignments on time, turning them in when they're due. Okay? And then 50% of the grade will be based on their performance. Any performances that we have are required. If we do a master class, whether it's virtual or in person, students are required to attend. Any kind of events that we have as a band, it's important to have 100% attendance. So expectations of the students: they are expected to come to class every day, be prepared, have everything that they need in order to perform. They are expected to practice daily, a minimum of 60 minutes, perhaps 90 minutes daily, and that doesn't have to be in one sitting. It can be divided. Students are expected to pay attention in class, and mostly I'm talking to Duval homeroom, where I see that there's a lot of distractions going on. So please make sure they're paying attention. I have noticed that the students in Duval homeroom are not turning in their work as much as the students that are face-to-face. If I look at my grade book, I have more students in Duval homeroom not doing the work than I do with the students that are face-to-face. So please set it up so you can get that work done. As with any activity, you get out of it what you put into it. And band will not be fun unless you practice, unless you put effort forth to get better. The better you get, the more fun it is. Then the more you practice, and then the better you get. So it's really important to put effort forth in order to get better. And as I said before, to take ownership and responsibility and to be motivated, self-motivated to do your best. Pick a set time every day to practice. Use your tuner and your metronome. Have a place free of distractions. Use a practice journal to keep track of your progress. Keep track of what you're practicing and for how long. Keep track on what you did well and what needs improvement. I'm excited about this year. It's been a challenge for all of us. And I say to the students all the time, be patient and be kind. We're all in this together. We're all learning how to get this done. I don't know when we'll be able to give concerts yet, but hopefully soon. I know other venues are starting to do some performances, and so maybe we'll figure that out, how we can do it in a safe way. The best way to contact me with questions or concerns, or just to say, hey, thank you, is through email. I don't really have a phone. I'm teaching all day long, and the phone is not an easy system to follow, but email, I'll see, and I can respond. If you would like to set up a phone conference, we can do that, or a virtual conference, we can do that through email. And I just ask that you contact me first if you have any concerns about wind ensemble. And then if I can't answer the questions that you might have, I can guide you in the right direction. Lastly, I do want to say that we do have some fundraisers coming up to help pay for band fees. The band forms are posted in Charms, and we do need to start collecting the band fees. Shelley Simmons has been working on fundraising opportunities to help pay for that. Also, we're trying to put together Band Booster board. We're still using our board from last year, and it's really time to have our current 7th and 8th grade band parents step up and become active members of the board. So if or when you get that email from Shelley, please, I hope you consider volunteering. So I hope everybody has a wonderful year, and we'll just keep moving forward and try to become the best musician and the best person that we can be. Thank you.